What's going on, CDL fans? Today I am bringing you my Major 2 Pick'ems, gonna be predicting the bracket, the entire bracket, giving you some insight on why I'm picking each team and who I think is gonna win Major 2. Make sure to drop a like and comment down below who your dark horse team is for Major 2. I'll get into my dark horse team when we get there. But with that being said, let's just hop right into these Pick'ems. So we're going to kick it off with our winners round 1 matches. Obviously, to start this off, we have OpTic versus Seattle as the first match on this bracket. They're not actually the first match of the day. London, Florida is, but we're just going to go from top to bottom. Obviously, I think OpTic's going to win this. Do I think Surge can take a map from them? I mean, OpTic's looked really, really good. I'm just going to go 3-0 OpTic. I think Surge might be able to take a map, but I want to have some bold predictions, right? I don't want to just like give it 3-1 every single time, because 3-1s are more of an obvious pick. So we're gonna go 3-0 OpTic. Then we have New York versus FaZe, the New York team going up against FaZe, who are recently coming off of Simp being sick. So hopefully he's 100% going into this. I do think FaZe will win this. I think NYSL can take a map. I'm not sure which map, but I really do think they'll be able to take a map. And like I said earlier, dark horse teams, NYSL is definitely my dark horse team. I don't even know if you can necessarily label them as like a total dark horse, because they have looked really good since the roster change, but they're definitely a team that I think could really upset some people, and one team that I think could be a major dark horse in this tournament. Let me come on down to the rest of winners round 1. We have London versus Florida. I'm gonna go London. Do I think 3-0? I'm not really sure, because London's obviously a better team. Florida can really surprise. I'm gonna go 3-1. Like I said, I don't want to just give 3-1s, but it's also hard because sometimes I really do believe like a team could get a map, like I just did with NYSL, and now like I'm doing with Florida. So I'm gonna go London 3-1, and then we move down to Boston versus LAG. LAG doesn't have gunless at this event, so I'm just gonna go 3-0 Boston. Boston's been looking really good, and without gunless, who is arguably he might be their second best player at this point. Asim's been playing really, really good recently, but still one of the better players on LAG. I don't see them being able to beat Boston. Then we move down to our elimination rounds, where first we have Seattle versus Minnesota. This is definitely a tough one, because Minnesota is one of those teams that can really upset. Seattle also has looked inconsistent, but Minnesota's obviously also inconsistent. When it comes to map counts, I mean, Minnesota's 21-29 on the season, and Seattle's 21-28 on the season. So these teams are actually very well matched up if you look at their records. No one's actually really any better at any game mode than the other team. So this is definitely a tough one. This is Minnesota's major, so I mean, they are going to have crowd support, but to be honest, I just don't know if I believe in Minnesota. I feel like I always pick against them and they win, then I pick them and they lose, so it's kind of like I don't really know what to do, because either way I'm usually in the wrong when it comes to Minnesota. Do I think they'll be able to take down the Seattle team? I'm not sure. Seattle's look shaky. I want to go with Seattle, but my heart's telling me to go with Minnesota. I'm going to go Minnesota. I'm going to go Minnesota 3-2. I think the fan support at their home major. Minnesota is one of those teams that has this weird amount of home fans, which is kind of interesting to me. I think the fans are going to be rooting for Minnesota, obviously, because we're going to be in Minnesota. So I'm going Minnesota in a game 5. Then we have NYSL versus LA Thieves. This is tough, right? Because I just said NYSL is definitely my dark horse. They've looked better than LA Thieves for sure, but LAT is one of those teams that, like, I'm not totally done with them at this point. I really think they're just in a slump, and I think at any point they can get out of that slump and really make a run or really start winning matches. So I'm just not sure if now is that time. On LAN, hopefully had some regain in their mentality from this past stage. It pains me to do this, because I'm a very big fan of 100 Thieves, as I say in almost every one of these videos, but I'm gonna go NYSL. I'm thinking 3-2, maybe 3-1. I'll go 3-2 just for the fun of it. It's just, if you look at recent form, if you look at this stage, since NYSL made a roster change, they've been very good, arguably top 5, and since this stage, LA Thieves has been arguably a bottom 3, bottom 4 team. So I'm just gonna stick with what team's been doing better. If LA Thieves win, it's not even considered an upset. Obviously, I think LA Thieves for most of this season would have been the favored team up until probably about 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna go New York. It pains me to do it, but I'm gonna go NYSL 3-2. We move on down some more. We got Florida versus Paris. Paris really could upset some teams here. They're definitely another possible dark horse team. Do I think they will? I'm not really sure, to be honest. I think I'm gonna go Florida. I mean, overall, they're a better team. I think Paris, they might even take them to a game 5. I'm gonna go 3-1 Florida. Then we move down to LAG without Gunless versus Toronto. Toronto's also obviously looked really bad, but without Gunless, I'm just going to give it to Toronto. I feel like that's just a safer bet. They do have some time now to practice with Spart in the roster. They've had about a week, maybe a little more to have Spart in the roster and get used to some of that. But I'm going to go Toronto, probably 3. Let's go 3-2. I honestly think LAG can keep this close because Toronto's looked kind of whack this stage. Let's do our elimination round 2 matchups now. We have NYSL versus Minnesota. I'm gonna go NYSL. Even if LA Thieves win, I would go LA Thieves. I'm gonna go NYSL 3-1. They just beat Minnesota, and I think they could do it again here. And then we come down to Florida versus Toronto, which is definitely a tough one to choose. This matchup is hard to choose because you have a Florida team that I feel like really kind of lacks like some sort of like fundamental like teamwork and understanding of how to play their positions. And you have Toronto, which is a team that has so much potential and we know how good they can be, and just hasn't put it together. This is really one of those games where I think it could go either way. You could predict a Florida upset here. Toronto probably makes a little more sense just in terms of an overall team. Toronto has looked better. I'm going to go Toronto simply for the fact that they're better at S&D and control, and Florida's more of a hardpoint team. I'm going to go 3-2 Toronto. I don't feel confident in some of this because I really don't know how to feel about teams like Toronto and LA Thieves, but then you also have teams like Florida, Paris, New York, LAG, who really could, you know, upset some big teams. Then we move up to our winners round 2. We have OpTic versus Atlanta FaZe, a rematch of the winners. Was it the winners finals last time or the winners round 2 last time, and then the finals obviously. This could be a really close match. I'm gonna go OpTic. I think it would be rude to not pick OpTic in this scenario simply because they've just looked better. Obviously when they played FaZe last week, it was without Simp and with Prestini, but I'm gonna go OpTic. I think it's going to go 3-2. I think OpTic takes this in a game 5. I think this is going to be a really good series, and FaZe could take it, but with OpTic's current form, I don't want to pick against them. We have London versus Boston. We just saw this matchup, and London obviously looked really, really good and better than Boston for sure. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go 3-1. I think London is a better team than Boston, although I do think Boston is obviously a top 4 team. I just don't think they're going to be able to take London. Then we come down to elimination round 3. Now this is a good matchup because this New York Subliners team could really beat anybody. I think simply I'm just going to go Boston. I think they're a better team overall, and I think this would be close. I think this could come down to a 3-2. If it goes 3-2, I mean, Hydra might just turn up and drop like 18 and win them the map. But I'm going to go Boston 3-2 to take down New York Subliners in elimination round 3. And then we hop on down to FaZe versus Ultra. I think this will be a 3-0 FaZe. I don't see, I mean, maybe Ultra coming off of a couple wins down here like I have will have some momentum, but I'm just going to go 3-0. I don't see FaZe losing to Ultra. Then we have FaZe versus Boston. I'm going to go FaZe. I think it'll probably be a pretty good matchup. I think the maps will be close, but I'm going to go 3-1 FaZe. I think Boston can take like a hard point off of them, but I think 3-1 FaZe is a fair bet. And then we come up to OpTic versus London. I'm definitely going OpTic. I'm going to go OpTic 3-1. I think London's a good team, but I don't think they're going to be able to handle OpTic here. And then we come on down to elimination finals, where this is tough, right? Because I could see a London upset. I could see London taking down FaZe here and giving us a London OpTic finals. And of course, I can see FaZe beating London for sure. This is definitely tough. Do we see London beating FaZe is the real question. I'm going to go FaZe. I mean, just looking at map counts, FaZe is pretty much better in every single game mode. So I am going to go FaZe. I think this will be a 3-2. I think this could actually be really close, but I'm going to go FaZe. And then that brings us to our grand finals, OpTic versus Atlanta FaZe. I do think OpTic's going to win it. I think they just undoubtedly look like the best team in the game, and I don't really see anybody beating them. If anyone's going to beat them, it's going to be FaZe. I think FaZe will do a little better in this finals than last last final. So I'm gonna go 5-3. I think they'll actually maybe win a respawn or two this time and not only win search and destroy, but I'm gonna go 5-3 OpTic to win this. Lock in my predictions, submit. They can't be modified, so this is what we got. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to let me know who you have as your dark horse. Let me know who you have winning the major, and if you did enjoy, drop a like, and I'll see you in the next video.